Okay, now we're going to do a mapping mission. Let me kind of get here where I can see. And we'll say new mission. We're going to take off from, what the heck here. And we'll call this map 1. We're going to return home after the mission. Don't go over 10 miles an hour. Let's drop our ascent rate down to 5. I am going to drop the rotation rate, which never found exactly what that is, but drop that down to 10. Just don't want to overstress the platform. Okay, that looks good. Next, here's our map. Wants to know where the center is, basically. Somewhere right in here. We're going to take it down to 160 feet because I have ascertained that that works well here. Now then, right here you can see the camera, Phantom 4 Pro 2.0. This is actually a Mavic Mini. Before I click that, notice this lens is 8.8 millimeter, sensors 12.8 millimeter times 9.6 millimeter. Now then, I choose the Mavic Mini. It's a 4.6 millimeter. The sensor is 6.17 by 4.65 millimeter. Now what that's doing is that's deciding how these tracks need to be spaced so that the camera gets a proper picture based on altitude and platform. Finished. Okay, there's our map grid. Don't like that. I'm out over the road. I'm out in the orchard here, so I'm going to grab boundary point A. I'm going to pull it right here onto our property. Boundary point B. Pull it onto our property right here. Same with C. And with D finally. Pull it in here off the road. Don't want to be flying over the road. Okay, there it is. So basically, I can fly this. And it will take pictures. We'll go up here and we'll do a mission preview. Generating the preview. The flight's going to take 6 minutes and 50 seconds. There's the pictures it's going to be taking while it does its thing. And it's going to not take more than one battery. And our 160 feet looks to be before any movement. I'm going to jump out of here real quick, and I'm actually going to go into that simulator this way. Gives me a little more room after I see those things at the bottom. So, we're going to simulate the flight, and we're going to do it at 8 times because you don't want to sit here and watch that. So this is what the platform should do. It's headed for 160 feet, currently at 89. When it gets to 160 feet, it will start moving. Here it is, and there it goes. And it goes up there, turns the gimbal down, so the camera's down, and it starts running the tracks to map this grid. There's the landlord's house. It makes a turn. Oops. Starts back. Let's speed this up to 16 times for kicks and grins. And there it is, just basically following its route based on the camera's focal length. And all this is done for me. The camera's focal length, and I don't have to do anything else. Run the mission. So that's how you would set up and run one of these missions. I'm going to go ahead and stop this. I don't think you need to see any more to figure out how it's going to work. I'll just go ahead and stop this. And we'll go in here and delete that, because that's not actually what I'm going to do. Because I already set up this mapping mission and was more careful with what it was doing. And this is the one we will be running, and it will be taking off from the back part of the house here. So let's fly that and see what actually happens. And there it is, taking off. The gimbal isn't tilted down for mapping missions, or at least I didn't tilt it down while it trucks out to the corner there to start the mapping mission. Looks pretty good to me. There's the top of the tree. I'm going to have to go back and find out what the height is of these. They're pretty tall, but I'm 50, 60 feet above them. Now, one of the things here is that when it gets out to the corner, it will point the gimbal down and start taking pictures. So there will not be video for much of this flight. Mapping works by taking multiple pictures, just like I showed you how it uses the focal length of the camera, knows what area it can see from that altitude. It takes multiple pictures that can be slightly overlaid to create a complete map of the property you're mapping. So that's what's going to happen. And it's about to start here, so this video will stop right now. And this is after it finished at the other corner and was doing its return to home. I will show you a little bit about what it generated with the pictures, because it generated 160 single shot pictures for the mapping mission. That's the landlord's house on the right, and the landlord's son, the house, and the trees on the left. And boy, this thing descends. If you don't know where you're coming down, you better watch it. You'll hang up in the top of one of those trees. So, looking good. This one also came down extremely near the landing pad. And I'll show you a little picture here in a second of how close it got to the landing pad. But that's the end of this mission. I will do something to show you how the pictures went. This was the positioning of the Mavic Mini after it finished the flight. Again, it is on a different side of the landing pad. And I did let it land in the leaves and junk again, which I really don't like doing. I probably won't do that in the future, but that's how close it landed to its takeoff position on the second flight after it ran the mission. Now let me see what I can do about showing you the pictures that the mission generated. Not quite sure how I'm going to do that. I'll have to think about it for a second. I just put the pictures together in 1 second intervals, and it's going from one to the other. But you can see how it flies based on the focal length and everything, and the height of the drone, and the specific camera, and the sensor inside the camera, what size it is. All that's considered mathematically, and then the flight path is generated. The pictures then are taken and just strung one behind the other. So it generated 160 pictures. There was about 7 paths across the property that it flew, and it took about 22 pictures per run, and they should be just basically very close to each other, enough where they do overlap. And I'll have to find some software to stitch them together and make a complete picture. But individually they could be looked through for something you're missing on the ground, a lost person, this, that, and the other. That's not generally why we do a mapping mission, but it's one thing that could be done. Lots of things can be done with this stuff. You probably can, well, nope, not this pass. You can't see me yet. But it's just working through the property, taking the pictures, turning around on the end, going back. Okay, I should be coming up. Right there I am. So you can see how this works. You can make $20 to $200 an hour doing this for properties. It actually can come out to be a better land survey than the old methods. There I am again. So this is how it works. It doesn't take video for this. It takes individual high resolution pictures that later we use mapping software to stitch it together, and it becomes one big map. So there it is.